Fast traveling is super convenient. We can all agree on that. But here's the thing. Sometimes relying on it too much can really break the immersion and rob you of the richer experiences that these game worlds offer. I've found it fascinating that by skipping this feature, you might actually be missing out on some incredible moments. So in this video, I'm highlighting games where I think it's best to put fast travel aside and take the time to truly explore and soak in everything these worlds have to offer. Without further ado, let's get started. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt isn't just about Geralt's sharp swordplay or those gnarly monster hunts. It's really a love letter to storytelling and exploration. Skipping over Velen's muddy roads or the rocky trails of Skellige by zooming from one fast travel point to another almost feels like you're cheating yourself out of what the game does best. Honestly, just walking through a forest might seem mundane at first, but all of a sudden, you stumble upon a quaint village where a creepy side quest starts to unfold. I remember just meandering through the trees, and there it was, a little house with a suspiciously friendly old woman who turned out to be much more than she seemed. I won't spoil anything, but believe me when I say those moments are what make ride or die fans of this game. And I know the world's massive, like really massive. But I promise, taking the scenic route only deepens your connection with it. You start noticing the details in the architecture of a forlorn castle off in the distance, or the simple beauty of the sun dipping below the horizon as you ride on horseback. Even the subtle ways the music shifts add to the feeling that this world lives and breathes around you. Every bit of your journey becomes part of a much larger narrative tapestry, one frustratingly easy to miss if you just teleport from place to place. If ever there was a game where ignoring fast travel actually amps up the experience, it's Sunset Overdrive. This Insomniac gem, which doesn't get nearly the love it deserves, makes every inch of its neon-soaked world a playground of glorious chaos. Sure, you could opt for a quick hop from one district to another once you unlock the feature, but here's the thing. Why would you? The entire game is one long, frenetic parkour joyride, where zipping along power lines, grinding rails, and somersaulting over rooftops flows as naturally as water. Every alley and corner of Sunset City practically beckons you to just one more trick, as you hunt down collectibles or charge headfirst into a horde of freaky mutants. What makes Sunset Overdrive shine brighter than most other open-world games is how moveset mastery blends seamlessly into exploration. You begin to blur the line between traversing to an objective and just existing in the world. I personally found myself keeping to the skies longer, entering rad combos even when my destination was just a stone's throw away. And those moments where you leap off a rooftop, catch just the right angle to grind a nearby rail, and then perfectly combo your way across a street swarmed with enemies? Yeah, those stick with you. Forget about reaching your destination faster. This is a game where the journey itself is the reward, and every spin through its hilarious, absurd world makes you wonder why you ever bothered with shortcuts. In the Yakuza, the Like a Dragon series, no city feels like mere background decor, especially in Infinite Wealth. Sticking to Kamurocho's buzzing streets or Okinawa's unique charm is a journey all in itself. Taking your time gets you fully immersed in the city's pulse. The animated streetlights flickering on at dusk, hamburgers sizzling on corner shop grills, and your own footsteps echoing in quiet back alleys where side quests sneak up on you. I couldn't peel myself away from walking through the vibrant market streets, where who knows what kind of quirky side story might just happen in the next block over. When you slow it down and explore these packed cityscapes on foot, you're soaking in all that Sega wants you to appreciate about Japanese urban culture. This is when like-minded wanderers stumble upon game arcades, subterranean arenas, and neighborhood bars brimming with minigames that steal hours on end. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth locks you into feelings of nostalgia and awe, but only when you forget about trying to get anywhere efficiently. You'll find those little flavorful interactions layered within every turn of these iconic streets. From casual conversations between NPCs to intricate kabuki theater performances that pop up when you least expect them, no two playthroughs are exactly alike. Ignoring shortcuts means you're allowing the art of the game to pull you into an authentic reimagining of Tokyo or Okinawa, building up an adventure that truly feels alive. Horizon Forbidden West lands a spot on this list, and if you've spent any time in Aloy's vibrant world, you'll get why. Skipping around to quest markers might seem tempting in a game of this size, but honestly, the Forbidden West is a place you'd want to explore every inch of. We're talking about an open world teeming with life, Biomes that shift from lush forests to rolling deserts, each one more breathtaking than the last. When you stick to the path, there's this immeasurable sense of scale and wonder that just gets lost when you opt for instant movement. I have found myself wandering off the beaten path more times than I can count, often chasing after a random tallneck in the distance or stumbling upon ruins that tell their own stories. Each hike through the mountains or dive into a river reveals something new, something that makes you slow down and take it all in. It's almost become a ritual for me to just stop and pan the camera around some of these areas, especially when the sun sets and casts those long golden shadows over the world. There's something almost meditative about it. And let's talk about the machines. Encountering a herd of grazers munching peacefully on some twigs or spotting a Thunderjaw patrolling far ahead hits different when you've been making your way there on foot, or on the back of a trusty mount. It builds this anticipatory tension that makes moments of combat feel even more dynamic and alive. Every corner of the Forbidden West is overflowing with details begging to be uncovered, and resisting that shortcut button makes sure you don't miss a single one. If there's one game where slowing down to really explore rewires how you think about playing, it's The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, sure, you can zoom across Hyrule with the glide of an unstoppable paraglider, but forfeiting shortcuts offers a deeply satisfying traversal experience that emphasizes the sheer beauty and mystery of the world. This version of Hyrule builds on everything that made Breath of the Wild such a standout, adding even more layers, both literally and figuratively, to explore. The Sky Islands alone are reason enough to take your time, and they connect in some seriously clever ways that make deliberate exploration feel 100% worth it. Wandering through this world at your own pace translates to serendipitous discoveries, hidden shrines you wouldn't have found otherwise, Korok puzzles that test your wit, or maybe just a peaceful moment by a secluded lake. I can't count how many times I've said to myself, just one more horizon, only to tumble into caves, ruins, or stumble across a whispering NPC who leads me down a rabbit hole of side quests. For me, that's what Zelda games have always been about, letting the world pull you into its secrets without feeling rushed. And don't even get me started on environmental details. The way leaves rustle in the wind, the distant roar of a linnel, or the way light filters through a canopy as you trek off-road, all of this makes Hyrule feel incredibly organic. Each journey, each step you take, turns even mundane travel into something more profound. Long hikes might sound tedious, but in Tears of the Kingdom, they're anything but. Every path, every climb is a small, personal adventure, and that truly shines through only when you take the slow route. Okay, so Forza Horizon 5 might seem like a strange pick on this list at first glance, given that it's a racing game and you're supposed to get from point A to B as fast as possible. But hear me out, there's an insane amount of joy in simply cruising around its open-world rendition of Mexico without a single care in the world. Toss aside those quick jumps between festival sites and just let loose on the open road. This world isn't just your typical open-world map, it's practically a living postcard. Each region offers something new, be it the sprawling desert with windswept sand dunes, the dense, lush jungle enveloped in mist, or those gorgeous coastal stretches that are just begging for that perfect golden hour shot. I have to admit, there's been more than one occasion where I've pulled off the road, ditched the race, and just admired the landscape, engine gently idling as I soaked in the sights. But it's not just about the visuals. Forza Horizon 5 delivers such a vibrant atmosphere through its precisely crafted sounds and sense of speed, particularly when you're eating up the miles on a scenic marathon across the map. Slowing down or taking the long way around provides an opportunity to hunt down all those hidden barn finds, which only makes the game feel even more like a treasure hunt rather than a straightforward racing affair. And let's be real, nothing beats discovering a tucked-away dirt path, leading to jaw-dropping scenery totally by accident. Now, we've been over this one before in previous videos, but if any game earns itself a repeat nod, it's Skyrim. This game didn't just define the modern open-world genre, it redefined exploration itself. Skyrim is overflowing with wonder, where every mountain peak calls for a detour. Here, trekking across the tundras and forests of the province reveals something different every time. I've honestly lost whole afternoons simply because a butterfly caught my eye as it fluttered past an unmarked cave opening, leading to hours of exploring yet another hidden dungeon. Skipping the easy warp between towns makes a relatively simple landscape feel overwhelmingly rich and diverse. You'll be ambushed by random encounters on the road, like a wolf pack that wasn't there on your last journey, or a wandering bard, his tune carrying through the air. And then there's that magical moment when the auroras break over the distant mountain as you crest a hill at night. Skyrim thrives on its atmospheric world building, designed so that the more you engage with it, the more it gives back. The best part? It's never the same game twice. Because of how the world is constructed, something new awaits each time you venture out on foot or horseback. Even locations you visited before have a way of sneaking some new detail or event into your experience, making every journey uniquely rewarding. Just ask any longtime Skyrim player, and you'll probably hear stories of bizarre, unplanned adventures that wouldn't have happened if they took the easy way out. Exploring the world of Just Cause 3 without taking shortcuts is an absolute roller coaster, full of explosive surprises and chaos around every corner. The island of Medici is massive, brimming with opportunities for adrenaline junkies like myself to lose countless hours just wingsuiting across its sprawling landscapes. This game isn't just an open-world shooter, it's a sandbox made for pure, unadulterated fun, and cutting out the option to fast travel only enhances that. One of my fondest memories of the game, just deciding to hop on a jet, a stolen one obviously, and take it for a spin across the archipelago. During that flight, I lost myself in the stunning vistas below. The mountains, the deep blue seas, and that oversized statue of General Di Ravello glaring at me like some kind of challenge. The entire game world seems pitched perfectly between beautiful and ridiculous. Whether you're zipping between towns with your grappling hook or launching yourself off a cliff just to see how far you can glide. Not relying on fast travel really pushes you to use the game's core mechanics to their fullest. The grappling hook, wingsuit, and parachute combo creates a travel experience all on its own that, to this day, remains unmatched in other open-world games. When you stop worrying about efficiency and just start mucking around with these tools, every journey, every seemingly simple trip across a mountain range or canyon turns into something unexpectedly exhilarating. The movement in Just Cause 3 practically dares you to stretch your creativity, jump headfirst into chaos, and enjoy every second of it. And really, how can fast traveling beat that? Kingdom Come: Deliverance might not be for everyone, but for those who dig deep into it, the game's immersive historical accuracy becomes its most valuable asset. Choosing to explore its realistically crafted medieval Bohemia without optional shortcuts allows you to live that experience as if you were truly there. Forget fantasy worlds. This game is about discovering a meticulously detailed recreation of 15th century Europe, and trust me, you'll want to walk through every inch of it. It's the kind of game where the slower, more deliberate pace of travel acts as a narrative tool, grounding you in Henry's journey. I remember traveling between towns on horseback, eager to see the world but also watching my step, considering that a wrong turn could end in an ugly scrape with bandits or wolves. Being on horseback gives the world a true sense of scope, from expansive farmlands to dense forest where the sun barely filters through the canopy. The sounds around you, crows in the distance, the crunch of leaves underfoot, even the chatter of villagers, make this game world feel convincingly alive. What really hits home is how the slower pace impacts your involvement in the story. Taking your time to travel between locations gives more weight to Henry's actions. Every overnight trip, every delayed message, it all feels meaningful. Kingdom Come doesn't rush you. You move through the world so the world has time to breathe and show itself to you. It's an experience that's hard to replicate in other games, and missing out on it by skipping around the map would just be tragic. Dragon's Dogma 2 takes a unique approach to travel, much like its predecessor. This game doesn't throw in fast travel as a one-click escape. It's sparse and, when available, a deliberate resource. By limiting the means to quickly zip across the map, the game encourages you to fully engage with the world, making each journey feel significant and fraught with potential. You're not simply traversing from point A to point B, you're preparing for roadblocks, ambushes, and yes, sometimes even daunting environmental challenges. Zones in Dragon's Dogma 2 aren't just backdrops. They're living ecosystems that respond to your presence. This is especially true when the unpredictable weather and dynamic day-night cycles come into play. The world transforms when darkness falls. Areas that felt manageable during the day suddenly become lethal challenges after sundown when more dangerous creatures emerge. Choosing to walk or ride through the land ensures you'll encounter these dynamic changes firsthand, weaving your narrative of survival as you adapt to the world's shifts. What sets Dragon's Dogma 2 apart is the palpable tension and satisfaction that come from these long treks. On one hand, you're exploring new paths, stumbling upon hidden dungeons or meeting NPCs with surprising quests. On the other, you're always alert, knowing that a stray chimera or bandit pack could throw your carefully laid plans into chaos. All this and more turns even the most mundane journey into something memorable. In this game, traveling without shortcuts isn't just recommended, it's essential to get the full, immersive experience that the world of Dragon's Dogma 2 has to offer. Days Gone is all about the ride. Although it has the option to zap from one safe house to another, that's just not the best way to live out this gritty, post-apocalyptic adventure. You play as Deacon, a drifter riding through a hauntingly beautiful Oregon with nothing but your bike, some hard-earned supplies, and the open road ahead. Skipping the journey means missing out on the game's most atmospheric moments, the long, winding roads that cut through dense forests where freakers could be lurking around any bend, or over open highways that are eerily devoid of life. It's all about survival, and every trip feels like venturing into the unknown. What I found, though, is that it's not just about the risky encounters, it's also about the solitude. Riding through an area at dawn or dusk, the lighting doing wonders as you spot the faint mist hovering over a river, creates this melancholic mood. You're reminded of the world that was, which has its own strange, nostalgic charm despite its dangers. And then there's the bike itself. Upgrading your ride, fine-tuning it to handle better or boost faster, connects you more to the world than any fast travel system ever could. The sound of the engine, the way it feels to rush down an open road with a horde behind you or cruise quietly past remnants of a forgotten civilization, it all comes together to create a powerful experience. Letting loose on the open road rather than zipping across the map turns the everyday monotony into a genuinely absorbing journey that's at the very heart of what Days Gone tries to convey. Ghost of Tsushima invites you to explore feudal Japan in the most cinematic way possible, and forgoing quick shortcuts in this one actually feels like respecting the game the way it was intended to be experienced. From the very first time you gallop through fields of swaying pampas grass with the wind gently guiding you toward your next destination, you realize that this world is something special. It feels alive, serene yet powerful, and exploring it at a measured pace is nothing short of spellbinding. What struck me most were the subtle details that bring Tsushima Island to life. Whether it's the sudden downpour in the bamboo groves, a fox darting through the trees leading you toward a hidden shrine, or the soaring birds pointing the way to secret haikus, every aspect of the environment is crafted to connect you more deeply to the world and its samurai spirit. The combat, too, becomes an extension of this immersive experience. You become more attuned to the rhythms of the island, to the way enemies hide in the tall grass waiting to ambush you, or how a seemingly peaceful meadow becomes a battlefield. Every duel by a riverbank, every encounter amidst a grove of cherry blossoms gets burned into your memory in a way that feels lost when you don't engage with the world directly. Ghost of Tsushima's world begs to be experienced in full, where the beauty, the danger, and the poignant atmosphere of feudal Japan wrap around you, making every ride, every step, a journey worth savoring. Dying Light 2 is all about movement. Whether you're scaling skyscrapers, sprinting across rooftops, or leaping over gaps that'll make your stomach drop, the game pretty much trains you to fall in love with its parkour system from the start, and that's exactly why you'd want to skip using fast travel altogether. Not even considering the freedom you get with movement, the raw tension and atmosphere are best felt when navigating the world in real time. Running around the city at night really nails this home when you're suddenly swarmed by volatiles, and the safety of a lit safe house feels a world away. Traveling on foot here has its rewards. The more you explore, the more hidden stashes, side quests, and valuable encounters you'll stumble upon. It's a living, dynamic world where every corner can either reveal a small victory or a horrible surprise. Personally, some of my favorite moments in Dying Light 2 came from times when I wasn't racing to an objective, but simply allowing the game's environment to dictate the pace. Dodging infected, navigating treacherous terrain, and even bumping into other survivors eking out their existence. Slowly traversing the dangerous streets and overgrown ruins gives you the chance to appreciate the storytelling embedded in every corner of Villedor, from graffiti-covered walls to eerie, long-abandoned interiors. And as you upgrade your parkour skills, you'll find that fast travel simply becomes unnecessary. You'll crave those moments of exhilaration and mastery that come only when you're fully engaged with the world's challenges. In Dying Light 2, the journey isn't just a means to an end. It's a critical part of the experience. So, Death Stranding is something else, right? In a world where games usually push you to get to the action fast, this one does the exact opposite. It's all about taking your time and really immersing yourself in the journey. Sure, there's a limited fast travel option, but if you skip the journey, you'll miss out on the true essence of what the game is trying to deliver. Every trek from one point to another is deliberately paced, and it makes you connect with the environment in a way that few other games achieve. Picture this. You're Sam Porter Bridges out there alone, carrying a load on your back with every step counting. The terrain around you is both beautiful and brutal, constantly challenging you to adapt on the fly. There's that unforgettable moment when you're trudging through the rain, cargo swaying with every step, and then you spot a ladder left by another player. It feels like a lifeline, something you'd totally miss if you just opted to fast travel. And that's the thing, right? It isn't just about moving across the map, it's about experiencing that world in its entirety. Every obstacle, every unpredictable encounter, and the solitude, it's profound. You're in this vast, often haunting landscape that gives you the space to reflect and feel the game's deeper themes of loneliness, connection, and persistence. It's heavy, it's impactful, and skipping on fast travel allows you to fully engage with these emotions. In Death Stranding, avoiding shortcuts isn't just about making things more challenging, it's about embracing the journey, both physically and emotionally, and that's where the game truly resonates. Cyberpunk 2077's Night City is this sprawling dystopian metropolis that becomes so much more than just a static backdrop to the story. It's a living, breathing place that can only really be appreciated by getting into its rhythm, which means saying no to the option of quick journeys across the city and instead diving headfirst into its neon-lit streets on foot or behind the wheel of a flashy car. Despite its share of earlier issues, the game's world design is one thing they nailed from the start. The architectural design is wild. Taking the time to get lost here isn't just about the sights, it's about immersion. The game practically begs you to slow down and soak it all in, which is so much more rewarding than merely jumping from quest to quest. It's the small things, like listening to the chatter between gang members as you stroll by, or the sharp transition from the shiny downtown to the darker, neglected districts, that pull you deeper into Cyberpunk's world. Even the driving, once you get the hang of it, lets you see Night City in all its gritty glory, windows rolled down listening to in-world radio stations that perfectly complement the game's moody atmosphere. Throw in the dynamic weather and ever-present billboard lights flickering through the fog, and suddenly, you remember why you bought into the hype in the first place. Lastly, cutting out quick hops around the map forces you to engage with the city in real time, where you find that danger and opportunity lurk behind every corner. And honestly, it's in those moments of unexpected discovery, when you're just kind of drifting around taking it all in, that Cyberpunk 2077 really starts to shine. Diving into the Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's easy to be drawn into the mesmerizing world of Midgar. And sure, you might be tempted to fast travel from one sector to another as soon as the option is available, but honestly, the city feels so astoundingly alive that you'd be doing yourself a disservice by not taking the long way around. Every alley and street corner oozes with atmosphere, from the flickering neon signs to the distant hum of reactors overhead. Choosing to wander rather than warp pulls you deeper into that gritty, dystopian vibe the game nails so well. Plus, remember how iconic the music is in this game? There's something special about hearing those remastered tracks seep into the environment as you stroll, rather than rushing through with a single quick jump. Once, I stumbled across a secluded spot with a street performer playing a hauntingly familiar melody, and it stopped me in my tracks. These unexpected moments of immersion are what make Midgar feel like more than just a backdrop. It's a living, breathing world. Navigating on foot or by Chocobo helps you catch the smaller story details and hidden gems, like that random NPC who might share a tidbit that ties into Cloud's past, or a tucked-away materia that you'd miss otherwise. It all adds up to an experience where every step feels like it matters, making Final Fantasy VII Remake so much richer when you choose to take your time. You know, Spider-Man 2 is all about momentum. This is one of those rare games where even the act of getting from point A to B is pure fun. Skipping shortcuts and fully engaging in traversal is where the game shines brightest. Swinging through the detailed streets of New York City with the wind rushing past as you nail a perfect web zip is the kind of thrill that makes you forget to even open the map, much less fast travel. What's really cool is how Peter and Miles have their own unique swinging styles. The world below isn't just window dressing either. The boroughs are packed with life, from pedestrians reacting to your presence to random crimes popping up that you can swoop down and handle. You're not just moving through the city, you're engaging with it, constantly encouraged to take the long path because it's the most enjoyable way to experience everything the game has to offer. Not to mention the visuals. Dynamic lighting, weather changes, and the sheer detail in each neighborhood make you want to take it slow and soak it all in. Sunset over the skyline is a sight to behold, and when you're swinging through the rain-drenched streets with puddles reflecting the neon lights, it's a whole vibe. Skipping on fast travel rewards you with a New York that feels truly alive and makes you feel even more like Spidey. Alright, let's talk about Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Sailing the Caribbean as Edward Kenway is honestly one of the most liberating experiences in gaming. This isn't a game you want to rush through, and disregarding fast travel turns every voyage into an adventure. The beauty of the open sea, the thrill of spotting a distant island, and the sudden shift in weather from calm skies to an epic storm. These experiences are only fully appreciated when you're navigating those waters yourself. What really makes the game sing is how every journey can become something unexpected. You could be en route to the next story mission, and suddenly there's a Spanish galleon on the horizon. Sailing from point A to B gives you time to appreciate these spontaneous encounters. Whether it's a hidden cove waiting to be explored or a shanty that's impossible to resist chasing down. And let's not forget the atmosphere. Black Flag nails this pirate fantasy so perfectly that you really do feel like you're captaining your ship across the open ocean. Every wave you crash through, every seagull that flies overhead, it all adds to that immersive experience. The needs of your crew, the songs they sing to pass the time, or the sight of a far-off storm slowly rolling in, it's the stuff that makes the journey memorable, not just the destination. Skipping fast travel in Black Flag transforms the world into a living, breathing place where every league sailed is part of your story as a legendary pirate. Imagine being dropped into the wasteland of Fallout 4 and knowing that every step you take could be your last. In survival mode, the game features the fast travel option, but again, I recommend that you stop using that. And honestly, it's one of the best ways to experience Fallout. Survival mode makes every journey across the map feel like an epic trek. You find yourself scrounging for supplies, planning your route with a seriousness that the normal game just doesn't require. There's also this constant tension that keeps you on high alert. You never know when a rad scorpion might burst out of the ground or a roaming band of super mutants could ambush you. What makes this mode special, though, is how it forces you to immerse yourself in the world. If you're not using fast travel, you become intimately familiar with the terrain, the landmarks, and the dangers of each region. You notice things you wouldn't have otherwise, like a dilapidated house you've walked past a dozen times suddenly revealing a hidden cellar leading to a Vault-Tec experiment gone wrong. There are lots of surprises in the game, which makes skipping the fast travel totally worth it. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a masterpiece in many ways, but it's the game's slow, deliberate pacing that truly sets it apart. And ignoring quick travel is the best way to experience its vast, breathtaking world. The open plains, dense forests, and rugged mountains of the American frontier become not just a backdrop, but an essential character in your journey as Arthur Morgan. Riding your horse from one end of the map to the other is where the magic happens. The landscape unfurls at a pace that allows you to soak in every detail. The sun rising over the horizon, the fog rolling through the swamps, or the distant howl of wolves as you set up camp for the night. Each biome has its own story to tell, and without skipping ahead, you're giving yourself time to notice the subtle ways the world changes as you move through it. It's also during these longer rides that some of the game's most memorable moments occur. Maybe you'll stumble upon a stranger needing help on the side of the road, or find yourself ambushed by bandits lying in wait behind a hill. These dynamic encounters feel organic and make the world feel incredibly alive. And let's not forget the crucial bond you build with your horse. Spending all that time riding together makes your relationship with your steed so much more meaningful. You start to rely on each other, developing a trust that feels genuinely earned. Choosing not to fast travel in Red Dead Redemption 2 turns what might be a simple, routine journey into a layered, immersive experience that connects you deeply with Arthur's world. And there you have it. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.